Hello, welcome everybody to the JPEG DAO Workshop. Today's show is about starting minting with Litemint, doing auctions in Litemint, and how to put your bids on an NFT. Today's mentor is the one and only MrSkelitin, one of our top creators on Litemint. How you doing today?
Hey, doing good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Glad to hear. So today we got some pretty awesome questions lined up for our mentor. And remember, ask questions and you'll be entered for our giveaway today. So, MrSkelitin, how about we start off with Litemint?
Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna take it from the very beginning and show how to mint an NFT even when you don't know what you're doing.
All right.
So we're just gonna try to mint one from scratch here. So I'm on litemint.com. And I've already signed in. There's a whole bunch of different sign-in options. So there's it supports, as you've probably heard, Freighter, Wallet Connect, Ledger, Trezor, Expo, Rabbit, or a just a raw public wallet, which is what I'm using. Probably not the best way to do it. Probably the best way is any of those other options, but just using the regular wallet for the demo today. So I'm on litemint.com and I'm going to click on create. And as it loads, we can see the minting cost today is 59 cents USD, a whopping 59 cents to make this NFT. And we can see our file is going to be uploaded to IPFS, which is the Interplanetary File System. It's a distributed file network, which is where our new NFT is going to live. So I'm going to click on Choose File. We've got our NFT we're about to mint. So supply, this is really interesting. Litemint, unlike some other markets, will let you mint more than one edition of the exact same. That makes it really interesting in that the non-fungible token, an NFT, once you have more than one of them, it kind of becomes a fungible token in that any of them are functionally equivalent. They point to the same resource space. So you're making a fungible, non-fungible token if you're making more than one of them. One important thing to note with Litemint is if you ever want to auction your NFT, it has to be a one of one. So if you have two of them, you can't put it up for auction. And if you've bought a one of three, you can't then resell as an auction. So for fun today, we're going to make a supply of one. We're going to call this the Skeletin demo. And then item description can be anything you want. This can definitely point to other URLs, or if you had marketing, you wanted to point to an Instagram, or you wanted to point to other social media. You could put it in the description if you'd wanted, and it would be respected. Those URLs will work. For our purposes, for demos, we're just going to keep it really simple. So I've just got the date and time that we are going to mint this. And then long description, it says optional, and it is. Long description is where if you happen to be creating generative, so if you're using some kind of script to pump out a series, maybe you have a script that can make 100 different variations of something with different layers and whatever, and you wanted to put that metadata, this is where you'd put it in the long description, and then you could use the API to interact with it. For now, we're going to leave that off because we're keeping it really simple. So I'll click next. Stellar Toml, this is where you might want to link it to your information instead of it being minted by Litemint. But again, we're going to keep it really simple for this demo, so I'll say no. And then here's where you customize your item code. And it says recommended. It definitely is. If you put code NFT, it's going to look the same as any other default things in any wallets. So this is how you differentiate it when you look it up in a wallet. I happen to use Keybase, but if you're using a Lobster wallet or a Stellar or Expo or anything like that, you want to make this something unique. So I'm going to start it off with Skeletin. And it does have a character limit, so you can only make it that long. So I'll just call it Skeletin JPG, and I'm the issuer. I'm clicking create. And success, your token has been landed successfully. Sign the transaction to receive it. So that was, I don't know if that was 5 clicks to get this thing minted for 60 cents. I'm going to click sign transaction. Here's my secret signing key, which you want to keep private, and I'll try to. And it's incredibly important to keep your private key private. If anybody has it, they also have your wallet.
Very important. All right.
And it says transaction successfully processed. View details on Stellar Expert, which would show you all of the details about when and how it was minted. I'm just going to go to that item page. And it's done. It's a 1 of 1. It's a unique item, and it shows that I own it. And that took all of 4 minutes, and I was really taking my time with that. So if you were trying to go fast, you could do that in, I don't know, well under a minute. So now we have some options on the generic page here. I can sell this if I want. And I can also change the market. So I can sell it for XLM, or I can sell it for USDC and click on more markets. And I can put it up and say I want it in any of these different currencies if I wanted. And there's also I want to buy, I want to sell. And so, yeah, that's it. It was that simple to get that up and get it ready to sell.
Wow, great. Thank you for that. Now, I saw there were some options for in the currency to select a code and a method to select an alternative currency that's not listed. I see there code and issuer. So would I be able to, so if I'm the seller and I put in, let's say I put JPEG, for the code and issuer, would does the person buying have to utilize JPEG to purchase it?
I have no idea. Do you do you know the answer to that question? I don't know how this code and issuer select market works at all.
Okay. Yeah, I know for at least on the buying side, because as you know, I've purchased many NFTs before. I've used alternative currencies to purchase, but I've never done the method for listing it as an alternative currency. So I'm guessing it's probably the same kind of method. You probably receive it in your selected currency, and the purchaser can still utilize any other alternative currency to purchase it, whether it's XLM, whether it's JPEG.
Okay. And then, yeah, one more thing. I was a bit confused the first second I put this up is I can't auction this. I don't see any options to auction.
Okay.
But I believe that's because it has to be verified by Litemint before it is an auctionable item. Do you think that's correct?
Yeah, actually, I think that is. It's sometimes you get like a message that appears that says this is just going through the verification process um, before it's fully listed. You are a verified seller, so you're not getting the alternative message.
Yeah, that's another important thing to note is to verified selling. So you can put anything up. You can mint anything that you want under the sun. You can put it up on Litemint. However, it's very important. You do not have to verify if you don't want to, but they will not show up in the search results
Uh,
until after you're verified. And they'll basically be unsearchable until after you're verified. So you could directly link, you could send your unverified NFT to somebody on Telegram or on Discord and say, hey, this is available if you want to purchase it. But you couldn't just send a generic, hey, this is my storefront if you want to buy any of my NFTs on Litemint until you're verified. So it is pretty important to get verified. And that's pretty much all the time. That's through a KYC process, which is know your customer. So all you have to do is email Litemint, and at the bottom somewhere it's happiness at Litemint. And once you email them, they will get in touch with a third-party verifier, which seems scary to give a third-party verifier any of your ID or information or anything, but they're quite legit. I've looked into them a lot. And as a paranoid, weird guy who's wearing a mask on stream right now, I had no problem getting through their verification process to mint. It took about a week, maybe 5 days. And then I could, once I was verified, everything showed up and I could have a regular looking storefront on Litemint, which would allow me to send that link generically through Twitter or whatever and say, hey, here's my stuff. So that's what verification is for. And it's just Litemint crossing their T's and dotting their I's to make sure, because once Litemint mints something on their side, it actually exists on IPFS whether Litemint likes it or not. And so I'm going to be taking another course to talk about copyright and legalities of NFTs. But just for the short of it right now, you can put things on Litemint and it will be hosted on IPFS, even if it's straight up illegal. And all that Litemint can do is not link to it from their site, but it will still exist on IPFS, which is a really interesting thing about the immutability of IPFS, that there's no real delete, there's only hide.
that's good to know. I'm excited to dive deep on that later on. I think it's scheduled for another day, correct?
Yep, my next session is going to be just about copyright and derivative works and what's fair use and what's not. Yeah, today was just how quickly, how simply can you get something onto Litemint. And as it turns out, once you make a Litemint account, extremely simply, extremely quickly. Another pitfall, just because I'm just thinking of tips and tricks off the top of my head, was I made a grave mistake one time I thought I'd let you guys know about, where I signed in and I used the sign in with Google Plus feature, which basically is single sign on through Google, and you can also do it through Facebook. What I didn't know was that when I signed in through Google Plus, it automatically pulled my profile picture from Google Plus and used it as my storefront account picture. So it happened to be a picture that I didn't realize was being used as my profile picture on Litemint as well, instead of this. So I just replaced it with a generic picture because I didn't want my Google Plus picture being my profile for my store. But that's something to keep in mind, operational security wise. You might want to be careful when you're signing in with social accounts instead of accounts that you make specifically for this.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for that. I think I learned that lesson as well. I had to. I signed on with Facebook, and I had to go change my Facebook profile just to kind of, you know, circumvent that.
Yeah, that's a crazy default that it will just pull it and assume that you want that your Facebook profile picture to be your picture for your NFT creations. I guess some people are a little less private than I am, but it was a good lesson to
Yeah,
learn.
I'm sure also if for those that are marketing themselves into the NFT world and they create a dedicated Facebook account to kind of share their works and kind of socialize with their community, it's good leverage for them to kind of connect to that set account, and they'll have the same, I guess, connectivity with their social through Litemint. So it wouldn't be much of a problem for those artists that have those certain pages.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few questions from the audience, and I'll just start going through them off the top of my head. So one we have is, can you show us how to list it for sale? So I'm going to try to put that one that I just minted up for sale. Let's see if I can find it after I've minted it.
And remember, folks, we're ask any questions in the chat, and you'll also be entered for our giveaway today for those that are just joining us recently.
Yeah.
And for those that submitted their questions through the Google form, we do have your questions listed. If you want to ask any additional questions, please do in the chat, and we will get to it.
Okay, so it says 1 to 12 of 32, so hopefully I can find it here. Here's all my previous mints. Just a plug for myself. A few of them are still up for sale.
I own a few of those.
Okay, this is great live. Where is the one I just minted? Is it not showing up because it's so recent? It says I have 32 and I had 31 when we started the stream.
Yeah, I don't think they're in kind of order of mint date. It's probably a feature they should touch base on.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll keep going back. I don't see it in my...
You should check your browser history to get back to that page where it was minted. Maybe that could work.
Okay, try that.
I know I've kind of ran into this issue in the past as well when I minted my own. It would appear as a different kind of wallet in the interim, and then it would go to my actual wallet that I minted it in. That was a learning curve for me.
I guess I'll keep going back. This could be it. Here it is.
There you go.
So I'm going to click on sell this item. You can change the market as you mentioned. But I'm going to sell it for the egregious price of 15 XLM, which is about $2. Okay, transaction was successfully processed. View details on Stellar Expert. It's up for sale now for 15 XLM if anybody in the audience wants to grab it. Kind of a funny demo NFT. And then we can see the actual history of the transaction on Stellar Expert. And bids and offers are here. So we can see I've offered it for 15 XLM. Now, if I thought, oh man, I should have sold that for 150 XLM, very simple for me to just cancel this and put it up for anything else. One interesting thing to note that we've only found out recently is there are reserves on auctions. And a reserve means that it won't be smart contract sold until that reserve is met. So if I was to put a reserve for 150 and the bidding started at 10, if somebody bid 148, it wouldn't be sold until that 150 threshold got met. However, an interesting side effect of having both being able to sell directly versus auctions is if you sell directly for a higher price, that's the de facto reserve. So if I was to put this up for just for regular sale for 200 XLM and then put it up for auction, started at 0 but a reserve of 150, it actually wouldn't sell until it hit that 200 threshold of the for sale price. So you could remove that for sale price, and then the reserve would be the de facto reserve of it, or you can actually keep that 200 and have sort of two reserves in limbo. So yeah, going back to looking at the questions a bit, what is the best wallet to use with Litemint? That's an interesting question. I happen to use a Keybase wallet, and Keybase was a pretty cool, secure kitchen sink private messaging platform. It's, I would say, maybe deprecated now. It was bought out by Zoom, the company that does the video conferencing software, and is sort of stale. It's not really being updated, but I still really like Keybase. But there's so many other options. As we talked about, Freighter, Wallet, Ledger, Trezor, Expo, and Rabbit are ways to sign in with Litemint. And honestly, there's pros and cons of each. Ledger's fantastic. It's really secure. It's an actual hardware wallet that you could, if you felt like it, and I've done this with another pack of NFTs. I've sent it into a Ledger wallet. I took that Ledger wallet, which is a USB stick, put it into a PVC pipe, and then I buried that PVC pipe in the ground. And that's how secure I want to keep those NFTs. They are not for touching. They're not for, they can't accidentally, I'm not going to paste a password into anywhere and have them lost. I'm not going to open up a link on a website and have malware do anything weird. They are literally buried in the ground. So that's probably your most paranoid option if you'd like. How do you set your NFTs for sale? We just saw. How are the NFT stores from the JPEG Litemint store marketed? They're marketed however you want. So there's been like really cool like guerrilla marketing stuff I've seen of people printing out stickers, sticking them around on like physical bus signs and stop signs and stuff like that. There's of course a lot of Twitter Spaces is big, Discord, private Discords, public Discords. There's Telegram groups that talk about it. There are really big Reddit communities like Reddit NFT, or you could talk about them on Reddit Stellar. They're open to being marketed NFTs on their platform. What's the best software for making NFTs? There is no best software for sure. So an NFT that's marketed on Litemint has to be a almost any file format. So any picture format, it can be a PNG, it can be a JPEG, it can be a GIF, but they've also opened it up. So now it can be a rather large MP4 file. I'd like to see SVGs. They don't have SVG support yet, but depending on what your end product is for an NFT is the best software for you. So whether it's Illustrator, if you're designing from scratch, Krita, if you're drawing something, your iPhone, if you want to take a picture, you could take a DSLR picture of your favorite sunset and make it just a direct NFT because you can upload any pictures you want. Maybe Premiere for editing videos. How do I transform hand art into digital art would just be either high resolution photos to, and then maybe cutting and editing it up a bit in Photoshop or one of the free Photoshop online alternatives, or possibly with a scanner if it's small enough you can fit on a scanner. Is there a reason sometimes an NFT won't mint properly? Like one of mine was animated, came out static. Did I do something wrong? Or so long story short, yes, there's sometimes NFTs don't mint properly. And sometimes also because of the technologies involved, some of them are very bleeding edge and really cool and futuristic, like IPFS is. And yet, because of its bleeding edge, futuristic, how just where it is technology-wise, a lot of IPFS is being worked on by the hour, and there's new innovations being made. Yeah, accidents do happen, bugs do happen, and so sometimes something will load up into IPFS, and it will cache a static version of it, but it won't display the entire GIF that's also stored on IPFS. And so what happens in those scenarios is we used to have to completely delete the NFT and try to just mint it again, which would cost another 60 cents. But now there is built into Litemint a refresh metadata button functionality. And what that does is just prompts IPFS to reload correctly. And within a couple hours, I would say within 2 hours, usually everything shows up as it should. But sometimes it does take a little bit of patience just due to the nature of the distributed file system and how it is stored compared to traditional HTTPS networks that DNS and everything has known how to deal with for the last 30 years. IPFS is brand new, and that protocol is still being actively worked on. And the same thing with Litemint. It is really new, but it's getting better every few weeks. They're always adding a lot of features and functionality, and quite responsive to requests from creators to add functions and features that do not exist in it yet. So if you are excited about Litemint, if you think it's not there yet, be patient, engage with them because they will communicate back with you and are very responsive to requests made as far as features go. Does an NFT sell automatically if the sell price is met? Yes. So if you put something up for 150 XLM and somebody offers exactly 150 XLM, it's sold. It's no longer yours. They have bought it. If they offer 149, you can click and say, actually, yeah, I would be okay with that offer of 149. Or you can just completely ignore it if you put it up for 150 and somebody offers you 7 XLM and you don't want to sell it for that price. There's no obligation to accept any offers, but you might feel that you want to. If it's at 148 and you've offered 50, then yeah, just sell it for that 149. Is that the same for the auction? Yes. So auctions are cancelable, just like sales are. But if at the time the auction ends, something is over its reserve, it's over. It's no longer yours to sell, and it is automatically smart contract in that person's wallet. Here's a neat question. Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, I was just going to ask. So during this whole process, some things that we didn't touch base on is you have to have a funded wallet to mint, to put a bid, or to sell, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So one other thing, just to keep note as you collect more and more NFTs, is also not only do you have to have that amount available in your wallet, when you make an offer, it is on hold. So if I had 150 XLM in my wallet and I offered 140 to purchase something on an auction, and then I saw another one that was 50 and I put an offer up for it, I'd only be able to offer 10, even though my wallet had 150. It is on hold. It's closed off to you. It's in reserve until that offer is either passes through and it's been sold, or you cancel that offer. And so that's an important thing to notice during the last few minutes of an auction. If, say, you've offered, or in an auction, you've put it up, you're trying to buy it for 150, and then somebody offers 160, you can't just offer 180. You have to cancel your previous offer. Otherwise, it's hold on reserve indefinitely. And that's the same thing with an offer to purchase something that's just up for sale. Until you either cancel it or purchase it, that is XLM or any other currency is not available to you. So you'll want to make sure that you are canceling your offers if they're not going through.
And in that same scenario, if you have 150 XLM that shows in your wallet and you own 10 NFTs, you actually have, I think, like 140, 139 XLM available because those other 10 are held as reserve for holding the NFTs.
So as far as my understanding with trust lines, it's 0.5 XLM for each different currency, which because of how Stellar views NFTs in the background as a stroop, which is the smallest divisible about of XLM that you can have, each trust line, so each individual NFT takes up 0.5 XLM. And it's not used up, it's not burnt, but it is held in reserve while you have that trust line, while you have that NFT in your wallet used up. So if you have 100 different unique NFTs in your wallet, you have 50 XLM held up in reserve that you can't use for any other function until you consolidate or remove those unique NFTs from your wallet, which is just something to be aware of. And a reason why you might be surprised if a purchase doesn't go through, if you think you have a certain amount in your wallet, it might be because more than you think is being held in reserve with each unique trust line.
That was a learning curve for myself over time.
Yeah, and it is only 0.5, which seems like nothing, but once you start seriously collecting NFTs, they do eventually add up. So just something to keep in mind. The one question I wanted to get to that I just thought is interesting to talk about is, what's a good price to start my work at? That's up to you. It's such an interesting question. But the truth is, there isn't an answer to it. It's the price that an NFT will sell at is the price that someone wants to purchase it for. And that's what its value is. So if you put it up for 1,000 XLM and somebody buys it, it turns out that's what its value was. If you put it up for 2 XLM and nobody wants to purchase it, it turns out its value is less than 2 XLM. There's all different strategies, especially when minting when minting more than one of ones. So there's scarcity, there's rarity. With generative NFTs, there's things like rarity traits and stuff like that. So personally with mine, And this is a strategy I haven't really seen before. And I was just really doing it as an experiment, was I've been selling every static image that I make at 15 XLM, which is low. And I've been selling, I think low even for Litemint market, if you just browse around to see the different prices. And then I've been selling the dynamic or moving animated NFTs for 25 XLM. And my kind of interesting strategy was to make the what I found a bit more boring, the less interesting ones more rare. So I only minted 2 or 3 or 4 of the ones that weren't that as eye-catching to me. And then the ones that I thought were quite eye-catching, at least to myself, and it's very subjective, the ones I thought were like, oh, I think that's quite a cool image, that would make a neat NFT, I sold them for the same price, but I made more of them. So I made 16 editions up to, or 15 editions or 14 editions, and I just sold them all for 15 to 25 XLM. Another artist might think it's appropriate for their work to make a one of one, only sell one FT and put it up for 10,000 XLM. And if they think that somebody would want to purchase it for that, then yeah, that's the price that makes sense for them. Auctions will let you know what the community thinks your art is worth, which is, of course, it's helpful to be bolstered by marketing, community, Twitter presences, Discord presences, all those kinds of things. If you can get some kind of bidding war happening because people think your art could be valuable in the future, that's what it's worth. But to me, my art wasn't hard for me to create, and I just would like people to buy it. I get a kick out of somebody purchasing it. So if I can sell it for $2 or $4 a piece, I think that's neat to have a NFT that I've created that somebody wanted to spend $2 on, and then they have that NFT forever. I think that's cool. So I'm going to keep selling them for around those kinds of prices.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your work.
Thanks, man.
As a whole collection.
And yeah, just to plug myself one more time. So I was just mentioning $2 to $4 for those for my NFTs that I'm minting, and I will put up any I haven't sold already right after this show. So check out Skeletin on Litemint, and I'll have a few. There's going to be just a couple more Skeletin NFTs if you want to throw them into your collection.
Awesome. One thing that I think touch base also is the auctioning aspect. Like, can you walk us through possibly one of your pieces and how the auctioning process looks?
Yeah, let's see. Let's try. So
Yeah.
I've got Litemint open, and my only trick is I don't have any one-to-one, so I don't know if I can auction any until that one that I just minted during this show shows up.
How do you know if it's sold? Do you get an alert?
You do get an alert. You get a notification.
Okay.
Hey, so check that out. Skeleton Demo Fig now owns this. So it can see the creator was MrSkelitin. Here's its URL. And we can see that Fig owns this. I could see when he purchased it and everything like that. So here's the details. So I've mentioned IPFS a few times. Here's the IPFS hash. So if I click on this, to a human, this information isn't that important. To an API, this is super important. So this is where the actual data, so this is metadata, where the data actually lives are on these locations on IPFS. So instead of an HTTPS x.y.ab.ca or whatever, this is its URL on IPFS. So we're going to go back to the demo here of the JPEG DAO, who its purchased by, and because I'm a verified creator, once it's available for auction, even if Fig wasn't verified, so you don't have to be a verified purchaser to sell verified items and to put verified items up for auction. But just because of the other ones that I've minted before and that they are all more than 1 of 1, I actually have nothing to put up for auction for a demo right now. Sorry.
No worries. Maybe we'll create a quick video and have it posted on JPEG to kind of illustrate that. I think we had some other questions still. Mobile users. So, what and how do you recommend to mint if you have no computer?
I think it works fine on Android. Like the store works fine. You can still browse it and everything. I do know that IPFS is a protocol, because it's a different protocol than TCP or UDP, is blocked on some networks. It's probably not blocked on your home network, but if you're finding that the Litemint site doesn't work, it could be because the entire IPFS protocol is blocked on that network. At, say, McDonald's public Wi-Fi, it might just by default not be open. But as far as mobile goes, I'm under the impression that normal browsers on mobile work fine, that you can just mint from your iPad tablet or your Android tablet, as long as you're on a network that supports that IPFS protocol.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
I know I've tried to purchase things on mobile before, and it worked fine, even when I was just in a parking lot at the end of an auction, and was able to make purchases on my Pixel phone. So I assume the minting process is quite similar, especially depending on how your wallet. For me, it's a copy and paste of my private key, so that would work just fine on mobile, which, yeah, just should be an option. You shouldn't have trouble if you don't have access to a computer.
Great. Yeah, you've auctioned something in the past, right? If I recall correctly.
No, never. I participated in auctions. I've certainly purchased auctions before, but just because of my philosophy of the mints that I've made in the past, I've never made a one-to-one. That JPEG DAO demo that I just made was the first one-to-one that I've made. Another thing to mention is if you're making a non-fungible, fungible, non-fungible token by having more than one of them, it's the same price to mint that 60 cents, whether you're doing it for one of them or 10 of them or 100 of them. It's not like you're paying 60 cents if you're for each, if you're making 100. So that's how you can find that lots of things on Litemint will have many editions of the same NFT, and it costs the creator the same amount regardless of how many they want to make.
That's right. Completely forgot about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do recall that when I was participating in purchasing in an auction, after you win, there's an additional step, right? You have to go through the wallet in Litemint to kind of claim it.
Yes, so it's put on hold indefinitely so that nobody else can purchase it or anything. But you do have to. In my case, I would just put in my private key again, but you'd have to authorize that final sale to move it from the basically hold wallet that it exists into your private wallet, and then it's very much it's yours after that step. But yeah, if you were just to make an offer and then turn your computer and phone off and walk away, it's not really yours until you log in again and click yes, accept, and that you've want to transfer that purchase so that it's in your private wallet.
That's right. All right. I think that wraps it up for our questions today. Is that correct?
Cool. Yeah, let me just check real quick to see if there's anything else pressing. I'll just mention real quick: is Litemint the only platform on Seller for selling NFTs? No. So they NFTs are technically a just another currency. Each one is a unique own entity, and so they exist completely apart from Litemint. So Litemint is a very easy, useful way to make an NFT, but it's certainly not the only way. It's not proprietary. It's not owned by Litemint. It's non-custodial in that they do not own any of the properties that are on Litemint, even though they're hosted, they're served by them, but they don't own them. So I own my NFTs after I've made them. I own the copyright to them. They are mine until somebody purchased them, like Fig just did. He now owns the data and metadata. He doesn't own the copyright of this item, which is kind of interesting, but he does own it as an entity and is free to buy and sell it both on and off the Litemint market. And there's also an alternative to Litemint called Stellar NFT, which is quite new. They honestly are lacking in some functionalities, but I think they're growing really fast. So Stellar NFT is something to look out for. And yeah, besides that, I think as a real quick 5-minute introduction on minting your first NFT, I think we pretty much covered it.
Very well. So, as promised, we have the list of names of people that asked questions today. And we're going to do a wheel spin for today's giveaway. So, let's see. It's the first time I'm doing this, so bear with me. All right. So, I believe I have to share my screen. Share screen. And I'm going to share a window. Let me know if you can see the window. Are you able to see it, MrSkelitin?
Yep. Yeah, I see your window. I'm a witness. It's live.
All right. So I'm going to, I guess, give it a spin. Ooh, there you go. Jason Latcher, you're today's winner. Awesome.
What do they win? What's Jason won?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe our workshop personnel, Arnab, has a prize giveaway. Let me see.
The JPEG DAO YouTube channel says a mountain token.
Nice.
Congratulations, Jason.
All right. Well, folks, we really appreciate you guys joining us today. For those that are here today and those that will be with us in the future while rewatching this video, we are excited to see you during our next workshop. And if you have any questions, please join our Discord, and we'll be happy to walk you through anything that we may have missed or to pretty much assist with any other questions that you may have for the future.
Yeah, and just to plug at the very end, I couldn't believe anybody could get to 50 minutes into this and not know, but do check out JPEG DAO on Discord. Check out the Gnawbears project. I happen to be a good friend of that guy. So check it out on gnawbear.com, and Skeletin on Litemint. And Fig, anything else as a last minute plug?
We'll be posting the next workshop in the next day or so after we have some confirmed scheduling. And at that point, we'll be posting all over all our socials. So stay tuned.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I think that wraps it
Thank
up.
you. All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Bye, folks.